The fluorescent lights flickered overhead as Mark Benson, a single dad and janitor at a towering corporate building in Chicago, pushed his mop across the marbled floor. The hum of the air conditioning was the only sound in the vast, empty office. It was just past midnight, and most employees had gone home, leaving only the faint echo of phones left on desks and the occasional clink of a coffee mug. Mark's life had been a constant struggle since his wife passed 5 years ago, leaving him to raise 12-year-old Jacob alone. Every day was a balancing act of cleaning offices by night and helping Jacob with homework by day, never a moment to breathe. But tonight, Mark felt a heaviness in the air, an almost imperceptible tension, like the building itself was holding its breath. Earlier that day, the company's CEO, Richard Hale, had faced a disaster. A miscalculation in an investment report had put the corporation at risk of losing over $100 million. The board members were panicked, scrambling through documents, calling frantic meetings, trying to trace the error that could cost thousands of jobs. Richard himself sat in his corner office, the weight of responsibility etched into his face, staring at spreadsheets that seemed to make no sense. Meanwhile, Mark was just finishing his routine, wiping down conference rooms and restocking supplies, completely unaware of the financial storm brewing in the very offices he cleaned. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the idea that anyone, no matter their position, can make a difference, please like this video, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Mark had a habit of paying attention to details that others overlooked. As he passed by Richard's office, he noticed a small note stuck under the edge of a file folder, half hidden and almost invisible. On a hunch, he picked it up and glanced at the figures. Something in his memory clicked. He had once taken night classes in accounting, trying to learn skills to give Jacob a better life, skills he rarely had the chance to use. Within seconds, Mark realized what had gone wrong. The decimal point in one of the key formulas had been misplaced, turning millions into billions on paper. A mistake so small it was nearly invisible, but one that had almost caused catastrophic losses. Without hesitation, Mark carefully corrected the figures and left the note in a way that it would be seen by the first person to enter the office in the morning. He didn't linger, didn't want attention, and certainly didn't imagine that anyone would even notice his act. To him, it was just doing the right thing, the same principle he taught Jacob every night at dinner: honesty, integrity, and paying attention to the small details in life that often matter the most. The next morning, chaos turned into relief as Richard discovered the corrected calculations. The boardroom, which had been tense and suffocating, transformed into stunned amazement. Questions flew: who had solved the problem? Who had noticed the tiny error that had eluded the most brilliant minds in the company? Eventually, someone mentioned the janitor, Mark Benson, and the room fell silent. Richard, a man known for his stern demeanor and unshakable authority, walked down the hall toward the cleaning supplies closet, where Mark was quietly mopping. There was no fanfare, no cameras, just a CEO looking at a man who had saved the company without asking for recognition. Richard paused, a mix of shock and admiration on his face, and did something no one expected. He offered Mark a position in the finance department, a proper desk, a salary that could finally lift him and Jacob out of their daily struggles, and, more importantly, a chance to use his skills and intelligence in ways he had only dreamed of. It wasn't just a promotion, it was a validation of a lifetime of quiet perseverance, of late nights spent studying, of a father's unwavering determination to give his son a better life. Mark couldn't believe it. Tears welled in his eyes as he shook the CEO's hand, realizing that his life, and Jacob's future, had just changed forever. In the weeks that followed, Mark's story spread throughout the company and eventually to the wider world. He became a symbol of unexpected brilliance and the power of integrity. Jacob, once shy and worried about their uncertain future, now had a father whose courage and wisdom were recognized by hundreds, inspiring him to dream bigger than he ever had. The small, quiet acts of doing what is right, even when no one is watching, had created ripples far beyond anything Mark could have imagined. As you watch this story, remember that life often tests us in silence, and sometimes the people who seem invisible are the ones with the biggest impact. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like, comment, and share. It can remind someone out there that their small acts of courage and kindness can change the world in ways they never expected. Before we wrap up, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What would you have done if you were in Mark's shoes, and who in your life has quietly made a difference you might never have noticed? Mark Benson, the single dad and janitor, had turned a simple act of attentiveness into a life-changing opportunity, not just for himself, but for everyone around him. His story is a testament to the power of integrity, the value of noticing the overlooked, and the idea that sometimes, the person you least expect is the one who changes everything. It reminds us that heroism doesn't always wear a suit. Sometimes it wears a janitor's uniform, working silently in the night, yet leaving a mark that echoes far beyond the walls of any office building.